high noon on Fox. It's the big noon game.
Mm-hmm.
It is an interesting rivalry. Did you know that this is a rivalry?
The Illibuck?
Ohio State and Illinois. Yes, the Illibuck rivalry.
Yeah.
The winner of this game receives a carved wooden turtle named Illibuck.
Yeah.
Originally, it was a live turtle that they picked to signify the expected long life of the rivalry.
Okay, I appreciate that.
The turtle died.
Oh, well. Circle of life.
And so now we've got this wooden figurine. You can go look it up. Pleasant enough. I like a good turtle.
Yep.
You pro turtle?
Pro turtle, absolutely.
Wooden trophy. And the other thing that I would add as part of this rivalry, at least in the early years, is that at halftime, the junior honorary societies from both schools used to go out there and smoke a peace pipe.
Whoa, okay.
They no longer do that. My guess is the tradition is alive and well somewhere in the parking lot if you're interested in peace pipes. But alas, Ohio State on the road, minus 14.5 points against the Illinois Fighting Illini, Dan. I have a couple mind-bending stats from the Office of the Solid Verbal Research Department.
Please.
Through 5 games, Ohio State's defense is allowing an average of 5 points per game. They have not allowed a touchdown since week 3, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. I need your help. We need to come up with a nickname for Caden Curry and Caden McDonald, the 2 defensive tackles for Ohio State who have been awesome. They had like 18 tackles, 8 for loss, 5 sacks.
So the double Caden situation?
It's a double Caden situation. I am not creative enough to come up with a nickname. The best I could do was Caden Crush, and I don't like that.
And wouldn't they be tackling Caden Fegan?
Oh, wow. There's a 3 Caden situation going on here.
Yeah. It's a tricade. Yeah.
The tricade?
The arcade? I don't know.
The arcade's not bad.
Arcade's not bad because you also have Arvell Reese.
The arcade. It's the arcade.
The trifecta. The triumvirate. Yeah.
Their defense is putting up arcade numbers.
True.
On offense, we've got some arcade numbers as well. Julian Sayin has completed over 80% of his passes so far this season. And despite all the talk about Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate averaging over 18 yards per catch. No drops on the season. He leads the team with 18.1 yards per reception. This is a very, very good Ohio State team, both on offense and on defense. Let me say this. I am definitely prone to overthinking matchups like this. I don't often ride on the Underthink Express. That's part of my problem.
Mm-hmm.
It is very difficult to build a case for Illinois here.
I agree.
I think there's a pretty good chance they end up getting drilled.
Agree.
To their credit, they're 5-1 against the spread this year. Okay, so they're, Vegas is still trying to figure out Illinois. Can you build a realistic case for Illinois in this game?
If we're talking about straight up and without injury, not really. How many players in Illinois starting 22 would start for Ohio State? Gabe Akis, maybe?
No, not many.
There's not a ton, especially with some of the injuries on Illinois' front that we haven't been able to see what they could be fully realized on defense. But I like Illinois players on both sides of the ball.
I think Illinois is solid. I like Illinois as a team. But what I keep getting hung up on is the best case I can make for them in this game is winning the turnover margin, getting short fields, playing at a slower pace to keep Ohio State off the field. And that's a formula that requires about 80% good luck.
Right.
And if we're going to sit here on this show and try to be logical with who we're predicting and why,
mm-hmm.
I can't base the whole thing around luck. I just can't do it.
The best of Texas's defense in week 1 held Ohio State to 14 points. Texas has a number of All-American caliber guys on that defense, especially linebacker, edge. They look terrific at their best.
Sure.
And they held Ohio State to 14 points. Illinois is not near there in terms of talent. Games at Illinois, which is nice, you're going to need to just bleed so much of Ohio State clock, right? You're going to need to sort of convert every 3rd and short, 4th and short. You're going to have to go for it on 4th and short, like kind of deepish in your own territory. You're going to have to take those kinds of chances to keep the Ohio State defense on the field. And even then, it's not a formula. Like to drive down the field and take 15, 17, 19 plays against Ohio State's defense, that's not allowing anything. And the best thing you do if you're Illinois is throw the ball. You're going to Hank Beatty your way to beating Ohio State. All due respect to Hank Beatty, who is good.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't feel like a competitive formula right now. And so better that this game is at home than away, as we saw what Illinois did or didn't really do in Bloomington. No, I mean, it's short of an injury, right? If Julian Sayin goes down or something like
Even
that.
then.
Which we never want to happen, but no. I mean, it's at noon. Yeah, you could get to sleep at Ohio State for a quarter and a half, something like that. You could have like a reasonable looking halftime score. You could have a halftime score of 17-7 and be like, oh, interesting. Okay, there's something there. It's not going to be interesting. I don't think this has 35-10 written all over it.
I've got 37-14. Maybe we've been doing this too long and we finish each other's sentences, but I'm with you. Like the offense runs through Luke Altmaier on the Illinois side. They're not particularly efficient on the ground. Almost all their pop comes through the air. I like the Altmaier to Hank Beatty connection. I do. Yeah. He had a great game a week ago. You just need more options if you're going to beat Ohio State. If you want to mount a serious charge against the Buckeyes, you need more. I think they can move the ball to some extent between the 20s. But if they get into the red zone, one of the issues we've seen with Illinois this year, too many field goals, not enough touchdowns. And especially on the Ohio State side, they're not allowing any touchdowns, right?
Right.
So that's a trend that Illinois would need to reverse pretty quickly if they want to have a fighting chance here against Ohio State, because field goals aren't going to beat the Buckeyes.
Right.
I'm just not seeing that. The Ohio State defense has been nails.
Yeah.
And then, like, the other side of this is not to be overshadowed, the Ohio State offense. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot about the playmakers on offense. We know how good they are. We know how efficient they've been. The quiet engine for this offense has been an offensive line that has been really good this year.
Yeah.
They've been really good at protecting Julian Sayin. In general, they have done a really good job of keeping the offense on the field. The game plan early against Washington was probably a tell for what we're going to see early in this game because they just kept running it. They ran it 5 of their 6 opening plays. They wanted to get going on the ground. They wanted to take some pressure off of the young quarterback. They did get stopped on that drive at Washington, by the way, down at like the 5-yard line. But I think if they can establish themselves out of the gate as the more physical team in the trenches, it's going to be a problem because eventually you're going to have to commit resources to that. And that's when they get you over the top with the passing game. Mm-hmm. And we know they have options out wide. I just think the margins here for Illinois are so slim. It is really tough for me to find the path. Not necessarily to cover. I mean, anybody can cover.
Right.
I think it's something like 37-14 Ohio State. I think they win going away.
Yeah, the saving grace, I guess, if you are hoping for a close Illinois game or an upset, is like this is the biggest game of the season in Champaign, right? This is your de facto Super Bowl. All due respect to USC, but that's not on the same level in the Midwest as Ohio State coming to town. And so you are going to have people from all, Illinois alums coming in from all over for this game, and it's going to be a frenzied atmosphere, but it's also at noon.
No.
Or it's actually really at 11 local, right? It's at 11 Central. So you're just not going to get the crowd whipped up in the same way that they would if it were, 2:30 local or 6:30 local, something like that. So that takes a little bit of the air out of things. It's a huge game, right? That there is that element of like Ohio State isn't a finished product. There's a lot new on both sides of the ball, full-time starter wise. But man, they went to Seattle and they just silenced them.
No.
Like, I don't think Minnesota's amazing, but Minnesota did nothing. PJ Fleck said like that was the best defense he had seen in 13 years in the Big Ten. And then you couple that with Illinois against the better defenses that they've played against the past couple years, Oregon, Penn State, obviously earlier this year, Indiana, and they are silenceable.
No.